Hello and welcome to On Point Opinions. I'm Bobby Kinzer, and
I'm
that's why.
Juan Holcomb.
Yes, thank you, Juan. Thank you very much for that. We're so glad for us to be here today. Our wonderful show is about talking about the hottest topics that people are having discussions about. Our motto is knowledge is power, and we sort of say that you can lead a person to knowledge, but you can't make them think. So with
Mm,
this show, me and Juan want to cover some things because we hear so many people giving alternative facts and false information. And this is On Point Opinions, and we just want to give the full disclaimer. This is just our opinion, but we want to give our opinion as to provide you with another perspective. Maybe something to
absolutely.
make you go, hmm.
Hmm.
That's all we want to do, make you think about some of these things. And we want to debunk some of these false narratives that they're putting out there. But thus you have On Point Opinions.
Opinions.
So, like we always start off, we hear every Sunday, every month, the first Sunday of every month at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got people from around the world who's tuning in, and we just like to welcome
Hmm.
everybody and thank everybody for coming out.
Hmm.
So, one of the things we want to just make sure that you do is click on the like button and the heart button so it expands our viewership. That's how Facebook works. But you also, we like for you, if you're viewing us through the platform of YouTube, to subscribe to our channel, and that gives us more traction. Now, this is a show, yes, we're talking to you, it is virtual, but we like to make it interactive. So please put comments in the comment box, especially if you're on Facebook.
Hmm.
That one comes through directly through us, especially if it's Facebook and through my personal page or through the through the On Point Opinions page. So, with that administrative stuff taken out the way, we got a lot to talk about. So much transpires in
Hmm.
a month. How you doing, Juan?
I'm doing well, Bob. Good evening to everyone. And you said it best. A lot transpires in that month that in between our shows. And it's hard for us to always kind of narrow it down to what we're going to talk about. But I think we have a good mix today, Bob.
Yes.
Mhm.
And so let's get into it. So what's the
Okay.
first topic?
Well, as everyone knows, or I hope knows, this is Black History Month. And we thought it was ironic that Black History Month we're dealing with so many major issues. And what I wanted to do, Bob, was kind of read something I saw that kind of puts it into perspective. Is the importance of Black History Month by Jelani Cobb. For those of you, he's a professor at Columbia University. But the irony of Black History Month is that despite the chronic questions about its relevance, um, the irony of Black History Month is that despite the chronic questions about its relevance or whether it's divisive, it is easily the most sustained engagement the American public has with any of its history during the year. And I thought that kind of jumped us into it. And
So break
because it
that
is,
down for us, Juan. That sounds so intellectually inclined. What is it actually? Break it down for the layman like me. What is that actually saying?
well, we put the word, and I think Jelani was using ironic, and we use irony because uh, even though we're supposed to be celebrating our history in our month, we're dealing with bomb threats at HBCUs coming, um, a barrage of them coming on the first day of Black History Month, voting rights, and the effort to keep people from voting, CRT. For those of you, if you've been living under a rock, that's critical race theory. Books being removed from libraries and libraries in record numbers. And something we'll be hitting on is the NFL and some things going on with the NFL where Black players proliferate. But we'll come back to that.
Boy,
But
no
Bob,
black
that
coaches, no black coaches.
no Black coaches in the NFL, just one still surviving, and we will be hitting that hard in just a minute. So Bob, that's why I believe what Brother Cobb is saying is that that's when this is really making people aware of history and contributions to the history, contributions by African Americans, but yet we're facing these terrible things at this point in our lives in 2022. It's hard to believe. As I said before, I was not stunned, but the bomb threats at HBCUs, Bob, because I think there were several a few weeks back, month, and I thought they kind of dissipated. We were thinking maybe might not even be a subject to discuss. However, there was a barrage of threats, which they now believe maybe from neo-Nazis and some other groups. They're truly investigated as terrorist acts, but that these are intentional, and I think that they are harmful and dangerous. I can only imagine the students at schools, because they're talking about shooting them up as well as bombing them. And so I just find that to be appalling at these days and times. But
So
if you look
Juan,
at our
so
history,
you said you find that appalling these days and times, right?
Mhm.
And this is where I'm at with all of it. All of it. I don't know if this is old or new. A lot of
Mm.
this sounds like the same old, same old. Like they say, a lot of times we've come a long way, but have we? And you know we have, but it's
Yes, we
probably
have.
both. But when I look at the bombing, I mean, that's nothing new. They bombed the girls in Birmingham. They bombed Oklahoma. So bombing is not a new issue.
Bombing
Uh,
our churches, that's true.
Hiding, bombing a church. Critical race theory, not wanting, hiding Black history. Uh, that's the reason why Carter G. Woodson created Black History Month, so that he can put forward these issues about
Mhm.
they've been hiding Black history for years. So I struggle with the dichotomy of some people are acting shocking, and I mean
Mhm.
it's hard, disheartening that some of this
Mhm.
stuff from way back is coming back to the surface. But I was always taught about sometimes when you're meditating and a question comes to your head and you don't answer it, it seems like it always will come back. So I don't know the reason why these things are coming back is because they've never been resolved from the first place. I mean, the whole black coaches thing, that's nothing new. The
Mhm.
whole thing about just the civil rights, right? We're back here
Mhm.
again, but something's telling me, Juan, and I could be wrong, but this time is different. Is it?
I think it is. It's often been said, if you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. And as you mentioned, it's coming back around. And I think I always use the phrase, it's tricky time. It's a tricky time because we have come so far, Bob. And we're able to enjoy many of the uh, material things that life has to offer, spiritual things. We've been very blessed. We have good lives. We have Black billionaires. We have Black millionaires. We have strong middle class. However, we still, it seems that once again, we're trying to reverse, we're trying to go back. Um, Supreme Court rulings and laws being changed. And as we get more into the different topics, we'll be kind of circling back to some of the things that are going on. So I do think this is an inflection point, Bob. I do think that, or a flashpoint, that it could be. I've heard a lot of people talking about the situation that we're in, and people are concerned with the upcoming elections. They're concerned with the direction. And these are from conservative Republicans or former Republicans. So that has to give me pause. Do I think the um, majority of people are really concerned? I'm not sure. But I do think that that's why we're here to kind of raise the voices, raise issues, and make sure people know what types of things are being proposed that are going on. So yes, to answer your
So,
question.
so it's ironic, Juan. What is so ironic to me
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
that with the critical race theory, how they trying to suppress history, right, past history. But the ironic thing is they can suppress past history, but right now, here in the day, some of that history is right here today. So they can suppress the old history as they can, but we're still dealing with the history present, so they can't suppress it. You know what I'm saying? People are seeing it. It's so ironic. They try
Right,
to
right.
suppress it, but it's right in front of our face. For to suppress the gerrymandering, that's nothing new. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
That's nothing new.
Hmm.
Critical
Hmm.
race theory is nothing new.
Hmm.
You know, bombing's nothing new. And now it's first four. So no matter how much they try to smother it over, that mud keep rising like a phoenix out of the ashes. And
Hmm.
that tells you, for me, it tells me we're in some interesting days and times. We talk about it all the time. Well, I believe we're in a day of reckoning. Now, some people say, "What are you saying,
Ooh,
Paul?"
ooh,
No, it's a
ooh,
day of reckoning. Things
ooh,
they always come around, and they need to be resolved. And I think maybe because I'm a pessimist. Sometimes my boys call me I'm an optimist. Sometimes they call me a pessimist because they say I'll be looking at the glass half full, and it's not that I'm looking at the glass full. It's just that's all I want to drink. So it's full enough for me. But I don't know. I think this is a good time, man, when things are coming to the surface, man, and we starting to just more broadly is being exposed. More people are finding out. But like the whole George Floyd thing,
mhm,
how that, just
mhm,
sparked the Black Lives Matter thing,
mhm.
sparked the consciousness of white America again, and I think it's different this time. I think it's greater impact. It might be reaching more people, or at least more people who can do something about it.
Well, it's funny you mentioned George Floyd. Not funny, but there's been another shooting in Minnesota that sparked a lot of uh, angst and some protests. So um, I won't get into that. But something else you said, Bob, it's not just Black history; it's American history. It's history, and I think that's why they really can't suppress it all because it's history. Now they may want to pull out the points that folks may want to pull out the points that highlight the exceptionalism or perceived exceptionalism of um, of America, but uh, this is history, and
Well,
um,
that's my point, Juan. I don't think it's history. This stuff is real time now. That's my point. It ain't history. They ain't even lived
right,
to get to
it's the
history.
present.
This was happening now. It's not depressing to me. And that's why I keep telling people, no,
Mhm.
this stuff has to be brought to the surface. And because just like Donald Trump becoming president, I think that's the greatest thing that ever happened. Would I wanted that to happen? No. But because he became president, it exposed a lot of stuff they were doing in the dark.
Mhm.
He was so
Mhm.
flamboyant and so brandish and
Mhm.
narcissistic that he really exposed their game even more. Because the real conservative Republicans, they wanted him to, man, shut up, just go with the program. We got this. But he wanted to come down in Brian Dass and expose a lot of stuff that they've been doing in the dark for years. Let me give you an example. The Ku Klux Klans. They used to wouldn't even show their face. But now
Mhm.
they take the hoods off and show their face and they running for office. And I'm like, great, now we see where you are, damn it. Now we need to
Mhm.
get out there and do something about it. That's what I mean. It's so ironic that it's flipping itself on its head. That's what it appears to be. So Juan, let's you have some more about that, man. Let's segue into. I mean, do you have any more on that subject, Juan?
Well, I just want to echo what you're saying. Black History Month has added to our issues, and I think it's doing just what you're saying. It's continuing to peel those layers back. So uh, we'll be. It's going to be a busy month, as it
Well,
should be with us.
and once
So
again, ironically enough, Black History Month is the shortest month in the whole daggone year, but
yeah.
we get Black History Month
Mhm.
for 28 days. That's a daggone. But at least they give us a caveat, and every 4 years they give us an extra day. So I should be uh, a happy black man. So okay, next. So next subject, Juan. Let's
Mhm.
move into, and we touched about it about the NFL with only one black coach now.
Mhm.
What's going on with what's your feelings about the Brian Flores,
Flores.
coach of the Miami Dolphins, being fired and that whole situation now that he's suing?
The NFL continues to uh, be front and center with that. They promote NFL as America's game, as they have flyovers and the American flag waving, protested somebody taking a knee. So really, Bob, I believe when we started off our show, back to our first show, I believe, or one of the early shows, we talked about the Gruden and the scandal of emails in a league that has 70% of the players are of color or black, and they're down to one head coach, and that we're not more general managers and coaches and owners is absurd. And I really, I was surprised, not shocked, when they got rid of Brian Flores, because he had gone on an 8-game winning streak, and they had had 2 winning seasons. But as my cousin pointed out to me today, maybe that's not why they hired him. Maybe they hired him to lose, which I believe is cited in the suit that he's filed. And for those of you all who don't know the Brian Flores story, not only was he fired, but he filed a class act. Is it class action suit? I'm not sure about discrimination suit against the NFL and 3 teams, including his team, the Miami Dolphins, the New York Giants, and one other. I forget who it is, Bob. So I think this perhaps is something that's going to, I think it's waking up the NFL that they still have serious issues. What's your thoughts, Bob?
It's before I get into my thought on the Brian Flores situation with the NFL, I wanted to shout out to a bunch of people who are watching. John Tresvant, jump shot John Tresvant over in England, played basketball in the league there. What's up, John?
Wow.
My sister Nolia, and my sister Nolia said when we're on the Black History Month issues happening, just ironically for Black History Month, she says, "What's next?" Very good question. With all those things we talked about. Carlton Chapman, who's my little brother. What's up, Carl? Love to see you, brother. See you, Chapman. Check this out, Juan. Ian Cleghorn. Wait a minute. And Ian, I'm not sure. Ian, are you out of Falkirk, Scotland? I forget. But text me where exactly that you are. Overseas. But Ian is checking us out too, Juan.
Wow.
So back to the board, the Flores thing, man. I mean, by him coming out, I guess he already knew that he wasn't going to get a job. And I don't know, he might not never get a job now. But I don't know. Like I said, things are kind of changing these days, and maybe he might get another job. But my money is on it that he won't get another job because he's come out and pointed out. He was on First Take, the sports show on ESPN with Stephen A. Smith and them, and he came out and said, they wanted to pay him $100,000 a game to throw the game because they wanted to make sure that they end up with a high, first round draft choice. And he said, he wasn't wired for that. So there's a whole lot of things involved in that, Juan. And then, they implemented the Rooney Rule, which was the owner from the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Rooney Rule was, I think you had to at least interview 2 black coaches
something
for
like
teams.
that.
And when I first heard of that, I'm like, is that just a placebo? Is that just like splashing water? All they do is interview, 2 guys, and then they check the box that they interviewed them. That's what it seems like. And but this is the dichotomy, Juan, with the NFL, because they privately owned teams. They're not owned by governments. So, I mean, they have the rights to hire who they want, right? They're a private institution. Because if I own an institution, if I didn't want to hire a certain person, don't I have the right? So it's crossing a lot of mores and
Boundaries. Hmm.
boundaries and things that
Hmm.
were set
Hmm.
that you don't want to take away person's private right as an institution, as a business.
Well, Bob, something you said in there, and I want to do a little pushback on that because I hear that a lot. Um, and by the way, I believe the commissioner of the league has come out and said they have to do better. I believe he's trying to do some uh, what is it? What do you call it about when you're trying to kind of wipe the slate a little cleaner now? But
Whitewash.
we come back to that. I think everything's trying to be whitewashed, but some of the
Play on
questions that
words.
come out, because I've been talking to folks, and what you said is important because I believe I got a call that said, "Did you hear what LeVar Arrington said?" And for those around the country, former pro football player with the Washington Washington Commanders. It's Freudian slip. Washington. They, I think he talked about what you just said, Bob. Uh, should he be working in the system? Should he have just gone and tried to get a job? Imagine working from within. That's the way it was explained to me. And I wasn't, I didn't go with it like that. But it does make a difference if does the public care and does it matter? But I believe it does. And yes, the football teams are individually owned by owners, but it is the National Football League is a entity. It is an association, and it's governed by laws.
Yeah,
Also,
but still private. It's a
what?
private organization.
Well,
It's not
wait,
no
wait.
government.
So
It's not
I
governmentally
think
run.
it's a combo. It's a hybrid league because the owners and the team get public money.
Some, not all.
Well, when they build stadiums, even though it makes it seem like that owner is building that stadium and he's just
Not all
coming out of his
stadiums are built
pocket.
with, but not all
So,
the stadiums are built
right.
with public money. One. Some
Well,
of them
since
refuse.
I don't have the
Oh, I
exact
do.
statistics,
I
but
do. They don't. Some of them don't want to take the money because the point I'm talking about.
but they do get public money. Some of them in the league, yes.
Do.
Some get
Some.
public money. They are in public. They are in the. They are operating in cities. They have to meet regulations and state laws and city laws. So they are
There's no racial
because
laws that
they
say you have to hire a black man. There's no
no
laws that
no
say
no
you.
no no. But I'm saying that they do get some financing and public financing.
Yeah, but there's
Right.
still no laws that say they have to hire. There is no law
Right.
in the
But
books.
but businesses do have to govern by certain regulations. Now,
There's
that's
no
not
regulation that say
saying
you have to hire a
hiring
black
and
man.
firing, but there are things like cause and firing for cause. This is not new, but I do think that it still has to be put out there that the NFL is running is
Yeah,
just running their own little plantation business.
that's what.
Yes, I do. I do, and
Yeah,
I
and
think that
they have the right to because it's private entity. There's no
uh,
law that says you can't have a
again,
plantation.
I let the public weigh in on that. That's why you and I
We are the
started this
public. No,
show.
we are
Yeah,
the public.
yeah.
Goddamn, I'm speaking about.
Well, I mean, I hope to write the comments on it, but
Yeah, please give us some comments on this one, y'all. We
yeah,
put the girls in there.
I think the NFL once again is showing its face. I don't agree with it, but I think the NFL um, is discriminating against the players,
No, the coaches. No coaches,
the
definitely coaches.
coaches.
You can't say players. It's damn near
Right.
70% players. You can't say
Well,
players.
the coach, right? But they're in the league, but saying that there is discrimination in the NFL.
Juan, Captain Obvious, one black coach. I think you're right. But this is the question, Juan. The question is, once we come back to this again, is there uh, what is it called, systemic racism in America. And President Biden and Kamala Harris actually came out and said that there isn't. And this goes back to this debate about that question: is there institutional racism in America? And my answer is, to your point, yes, it is. But it's kind of hard when they have rules, Juan. Just have their rules and laws that go this way. They also make rules and laws that go that way. They benefit both ways. Like I said, it's private organization. But we know we can have that debate back and forth. I believe it's not just about racism, because people want to fight the issue, whether it's about racism. And I want to raise it. No, racism is just a tool. It's really, to me, white supremacy. And we're seeing white supremacy spreading across the globe, where entities are oppressing people with their power, and it just so happened to be white men. Juan, man, we got a lot of people coming from overseas. Juan, right quick, hold on, Juan, hold on.
Okay, yeah.
Because we got to switch. We're at the minute now. But Neville Hopkins, Neville played. I played against Neville, man. Neville is over in England. I played against Neville. Neville played for Fiat, right? One of the professional teams for Fiat. And we got Victor out of Las Vegas, my Texas A&I teammate, man. Watch. Juan, go ahead and make your point. Then we got to.
No, I was saying that. Our trade off. They are giving us a hip hop halftime show, and that's why they know they can make black people relax, because you get to see Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. So everybody will be screaming and hollering and about how great the halftime show is, and tell us to go home, sit down, and shut up. Okay, all right.
The splash of water, as they do, it's called splash of water. Doesn't affect anything. You just dry off. So,
but I hope that I wish Brian Flores luck. I think that he has brought some light to it. And Bob, you and I discussed. Do you think? Answer that. What do you think, Bob? Will he be forgotten? Is he going to be a pariah? Is he going to be a martyr? What do you think is the future, or is he sacrificing and it's going to help them hire more black coaches? Or you think this is fait accompli?
I wish I could answer that, Juan. That's just like asking me saying I'm schizophrenic and so am I. I have no daggone clue in this daggone country. But if I was to roll the dice, Juan,
yes,
martyr, pariah, or forgotten, I'm hoping this time. I think it's going to be a pariah. I pick pariah, not more martyr yet. So I'm picking in the middle. So Juan,
there you go, ladies and gentlemen. He said it on February 6th. Okay,
that's right.
Go on.
Yes. Juan. So we have always in our segment an update on the Biden presidency. Right now, the update on the current situation of Biden presidency. He's under siege. A lot of people saying he's going to be a one-term president. A lot of people saying, what has he done? So one of the things that might silence them is now on the is it Stevens? No, Breyer. Which I guess which
Breyer.
Breyer, right? He's getting ready to step down. And so Biden is going to be able to pick. Now, I said that he's going to pick a black woman. What's your opinion on that, Juan?
Well, I'm glad, Bob, you mentioned the Biden presidency update, because it always seems like when they count Biden out, something comes good. And so if I can take a little host piece on this, if I can just use my hostily skills, they were all set for the job numbers that just came out, and places like Fox News, they had said they had put a stake in fork in Biden and didn't want to turn him over, and it came out that he had a historic number of jobs, 500,000 and 6 million overall, 500,000 jobs. This close to 500,000 jobs over the month of January. So you can't count Biden out. There's always something coming up for that. And I think this pick that he has is a very positive thing for him. So I do think that I'm glad he's sticking to his word. Some people feel like Biden's let them down by not being able to pass voting rights laws and George Floyd bill. So
is that
I
really on
believe
him?
no, but the buck usually stops with the presidency. So
That's unfair, though.
mhm,
That's
mhm.
so unfair because he can't vote in
But
the
why
Congress.
I say why does the saying they're going to pick a black woman um, rile the public up, uh, even though I know it's obvious, but why the controversy? Why does it drive folks crazy
Well,
to
maybe I
that
can answer
incident
that
pick?
for you, Juan Holcomb.
All right.
One, one, she's black, and two,
Mm,
they try to label black women as with an attitude. So do I need to say any more? They stereotyping them. You know that's why. And they, first of all, you know how majority men, not majority men, a lot of who can I say, conservative men,
mhm,
white men. Let me maybe be more specific. Tend to be more anti-women. I mean, just think about it. They didn't get to vote for a long daggone time
mhm,
because of men. So, and I think that still prevails, by the way, how they feel about women. Anytime you're going to tell a person, women, they can't have control of their own decision to have a
mhm,
baby or not, that tells you once again how they feel
mhm,
about women, women's
mhm.
rights. So I think that's one, Juan,
Let alone a black woman.
woman.
Hmm.
Two, because she's a black woman. So,
Right.
uh, but then there's other things that's affecting Biden is now this potential war with Putin, and that's
Hmm.
straight up white supremacy. That's what
Hmm.
Russia is really all about. And but they're trying to just flex and let people know because across the world, white supremacy is alive and well and
Hmm.
taking over in different places where they're trying to say no, don't bring no democracy here because it's not about the people, by the people.
Hmm.
So I believe this whole Russia, Ukraine. I mean, come on, Ukraine ain't what kind of economy, but that's Putin trying to just flex. But it may affect Biden, just like they try to get on him about the way he handled the withdrawal of the troops from Afghanistan. How else? It's
Hmm.
going to be messy. How else could you? There's no clean way they could do it. He did it the right way. Whip.
Hmm.
So I think Biden is going to go down as one of the better presidents in our times.
Hmm. I think he's going to be consequential as well, um, Bob. I think he will be
Oh,
a consequential
excuse me. Could you
president,
you
and,
mind
and
spelling that for me? No, I'm sorry.
consequent. Well, now, Bob, let me ask you this: do you think that this pick it will be an affirmative action pick, and that's become uh,
What do you
um,
mean affirmative action pick? It's affirmative action just for being black. Is that what you mean? That he's doing it as an affirmative action? Yes, it is. I mean, when you say,
mhm,
I'm sorry, I want to
mhm.
clarify what do you mean? Clarify what do you mean? Is this going to be affirmative action pick?
Well, uh, if you know that the Supreme Court, ironic enough, is um, deciding about a case coming up with affirmative action, and so there's been referred to that that's the only reason that it's not on merit or qualifications. It's just a pick of affirmative action. So should that be insulting? Is that right? Is that a thing, Bob? I understand
Well,
what
well,
you
sidebar.
just said right there.
Sidebar one
Okay.
on affirmative action.
Hmm.
The brother out of California who is totally attacking affirmative action that should have said it should be abolished. I didn't understand how he could say anything like that when it
What was
was.
his name? You remember his name?
I
What was
can't
that
remember
guy's
his
name?
name,
I can't
but
remember his name for
he
years.
point was get rid of affirmative action because it's not being used for what it was created for. It was created for specifically black people to balance an imbalanced situation of
Hmm.
inequalities, right?
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
now that fits under affirmative action is women, white women,
Hmm.
Asians, Hispanics,
Hmm.
and he's
It
saying it's
benefited
not
from.
being used for what it was created for. So get rid of it and create something that is specifically for Black people. So the affirmative action issue is such a dead issue because it's not even being used how it was originally created to level the ground for the inequalities of Black people. But now it's putting even gays and transgendered are in that affirmative action. So I think he's got a little right with whether he's doing this for affirmative action. I think that's a moot point because affirmative action doesn't even exist anymore. But Juan, this is so interesting, and I'll end with this point. It's so interesting how so many policies are made for other other races, or not just other races, agendas. Like as soon as he got in, he signed the transgendered bill. Action. Then come right back within a year, the subject came up about Asian hate crimes, and they created a bill for Asians. But when it comes to Black people, there's nothing specifically done. We did the civil rights, then they got rid of the civil rights. But every time they say it's for Black people, it's always why you trying to cater just to Black? But anyway,
well, it's a pushback because my crack staff just handed me things, said the Black Farmers Bill, and they got huge pushback for that. I think that anything that is led with, if you want to rile up people, say it's for Black people. I think that's how Chumpkin got in. Is it Chumpkin? Chumpkin, Chumpkin, or Yokin? It's
no.
Well, I'm having some Freudian
slips. No, you covered two with that. You covered two people with that. You covered Donald Trump, and you covered I don't forgot his name. You don't play around so much.
Youngkin.
But you covered two because both of them are Chumpkins. So anyway, both of them are Chumpkins. But anyway, so Juan, with that, man, let's transition into our next topic, which is a hot topic. And to all our friends who are in Great Britain, England and Scotland and Ireland and Wales, y'all will think we crazy because y'all have gun laws where only people that have guns in your country are the police. And we, the only people who don't have guns are the police. No, I mean, everybody got a daggone gun, man. I mean, the America's obsession with guns is just crazy, and they hide behind this Second Amendment, and it was never to say that you could carry a gun. It was talking about you had to fight to form as a militia, and it was like army, and that's really what it's supposed to be. Until recently, the Supreme Court just came out and straight and gave some being able to obtain guns more rights. But I mean, it's all the shootings now, the police shootings, Juan, and then talk about the Missouri legislation.
Well, police are being shot. It's just, it really is crazy. America's obsession with guns, when we talked about discussing that, is such a proliferation of guns on our streets. And something I was reminded today, Bob, was we even have something here called, for our European friends and our worldly friends around the world, we have something here called ghost guns. And when he reminded me of that, who has a ghost gun?
Do you know what a ghost gun is?
Make from a printer.
Yeah, so you know what a ghost gun is, right?
It's made. It has no registration.
Just plain and simple. You make the gun.
You make the gun yourself, right?
Yourself.
Right. You just need a printer, right? Do you even need the printer?
You don't even need that. It's just you making a gun.
You can assemble. It comes in a kit, doesn't it? Right.
No, it's not a kit. It's just you make a gun. There's people that make guns from scratch. It's not just the printer. It's printer. That's the new thing. But it's plain and simple. Ghost gun is a person that makes a gun himself with no serial number, no nothing.
Serial
you can
number.
make it from anything. Just like in the daggone, prison, they got zip gun. That's but ghost guns is really a gun that is made by individuals. But yeah, Juan.
So I think that speaks volumes for what we're dealing with here. And just to add to it, I think I was telling you this week, Bob, I hear that Missouri has legislation to legalize murder, and it's using self-defense. And I thought how poetic is this? The bill is called SB 666. How appropriate is that for a bill to legalize murder? And what they're saying about it is that they tried to pass the bill. Thank goodness they're getting pushback from police, from sheriff's offices. They signed things saying that this is just, it's really a statute to legalize murder. That as long as you feel any threat to, we already have some stand your ground laws, but that you can kill and not be even prosecuted for it or charged with anything for it. So that it doesn't get much more disturbing. That we already have open carry laws, and before you were you led off the show talking about in many of these countries, just the police can carry guns. We have places where now it's back to the wild west, open carry state, Bob, where you went to school, Texas and Ohio, Michigan. You can carry a gun and openly. So we have a lot of angry people here. You all, we so it's
a lot of crazy people who too can carry a gun.
Right, it's a recipe for disaster. And I was telling you, Bob, this week that two Michigan GOP running for the Republican Party, Grand Old Party, GOP, they are two candidates, one for the state Senate and one for governor. They told people to bring their guns to the polling places and to openly defy laws and bring their guns to the polling places and feel that they can take the machines and knock them down or pull them out if they don't think somebody's doing right. So it is really it's kind of pushing towards the edge of something that I don't know if we can pull this string back, pull things back. So, but yes, I think that we have a challenge in our hands.
So Juan, Mattie Ford, my good friend and ex-co-worker from the FDIC, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, says, let's face it, the world has gone mad. Very sad, but true. And Mattie Ford, I'd like to give you some breaking news. The world has always been mad. That's why they call it the world. Because you go back into biblical days, they were doing just as crazy things. It's not crazy, but you're right. The world has gone mad. Juan, we want to backtrack one thing. My sister Nola, who's been in human resources and human resource director, said affirmative action is no longer being used in employee handbooks or practice. So that tells you about, is this an affirmative action move that Mr. Biden is making? No, affirmative action really doesn't even exist anymore. Plain and simple, what Nola was saying. But so Juan, the gun thing, man, I have a friend down that was telling me that yesterday about
read that again, Bob. She said
affirmative action is no more longer in employee handbooks. We lost Juan there for a minute. He's going to have to come back. And she said it's not even in practice anymore, affirmative action. Juan's going to click out and come back in. So we'll check him out when he come back in. Just want to end up on the subject on, he's back. Just want to
lost me for a minute. Yeah, technical difficulties.
They say, let's keep rolling. So anyway, I answered your question, repeated about affirmative actions no longer in employee handbooks or practice. But to end the gun conversation, you all, I have a friend that he named about 7 different types of guns, long range that can shoot 1 mile, and he had a ghost gun too, and he's got AR-10. I didn't even know there's an AR-10. I knew about AR-50.
Right.
He had an AK-47, and this is a black man, and he has so much ammo that they have ammo clubs where they all put in money to make sure they get some ammo. So I just want to give a little note out there. News break.
Wow.
to these white supremacists that think if they create a race riot that they only ones that have guns. There's a bunch of people out there with guns. It's
A
sad,
bunch of people have guns. It's
but
scary
you
in some ways. It's a bunch of
yeah,
people have
it's
guns.
scary, man. But that's the life we live in, Juan. So, Juan,
Mhm,
let's transition to the to our next subject, which is
mhm.
our next subject is the growing. Well, first I'll go into that one. You have any more on about the guns? Because you talked about the Missouri. You talked about the
Mhm,
Missouri thing,
mhm, mhm. Yeah,
Michigan.
and
You cover all of that.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good.
I
Good.
just think that the guns are a problem, and who can have them, and who can use them. It's very tricky, and I just will, Bob. Just wanted to end on this one. As you mentioned George Floyd earlier, so in Minneapolis, they used a no-knock warrant, which is something they really need to get rid of. That's how Breonna Taylor was shot. These no-knock warrants, and they have footage going into an apartment and shooting a 22-year-old three times and killing him within 10 seconds of arriving. So guns, and they said he had a gun, but it's a no-knock warrant to come to the house. And I thought about it, and I heard a former police officer say, "Does who does castle doctrine apply to? That's your castle. That you can have a gun." And I know I have friends who have guns. I don't know where they keep them, but I'm not a gun person, but I have friends who have guns, have always had guns, and if they can come in and shoot you, having a gun in your house. I never hear the NRA come in and support folks who have license for having a gun, uh, blacks who have a license to have a gun. So um, I think we have a lot of work to do. I'll leave it at that, Bob.
Okay,
And
good. Well, Matty
so
Ford said talking about guns in the
mhm.
hood
We have a lot
in
of work
those.
to do. Guns are
So you a little bit delayed, one. So hang in there. I don't mean to step
mhm.
over you.
Okay.
So
All right.
Matty Ford said in the hoods and in the red states, they have more weapons than the military. And I just want to tell Maddie a little story that puts things in perspective. Van Hollen, Senator of Maryland, was on a talk
Van
show,
Hollen.
radio. Van Hollen, yes, was on a talk
Hmm.
show, and the guy phoned in from Montana, and he said, "I wish you would come in here, Governor. I wish you would come in here. I got something for you." He said, "So you can't talk like that." He said, "But I'm telling you, the government think they can come up in here." And Mr. Van Hollen just broke it down to let him understand about the gun situation, Matty. He first said, firstly, the Second Amendment will never be changed. So stop, sir,
Right.
complaining about
Right.
that. That's a moot point.
Right.
That will never be changed. And
Hmm.
second, sir, there are gun laws that don't allow you to have guns that the military does. For instance, the military have 445 caliber tanks, and they have F-18s. So that put all that to rest. What he didn't say it, but there are guns the military have. They will blow your butt off the map if you think you got your little guns over there in Waco. Look at the Waco situation. So no matter.
Hmm.
Trust me, the government will squash all of that stuff if they really want to, and they will. Just like the resurrection notice, they didn't come back down to the second time. Thank you. So, to just a
That's
little
that's a
bit
debate
more
for another
short
day.
at it,
Okay.
there's guns that these crazy wackos don't have, and these weapons that will just blow these mother off the map, and nobody will ever even know it. So anyway, moving right along, moving right along. Our
That's
last
a debate.
subject is a new
Mhm.
study that just came out about the wealth gap between blacks and whites. And one of the it's by the McKinsey report, Duke University, and the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. And I just want to read a few statistics to you, Juan, that in 2021, if I'm right, I might be confusing it with they did it in 2020, but still, it's not that
Mhm.
long ago. The Black America spent $1.4 trillion, but everybody else is the wealth gap closed with Hispanics and Asians, except
Mhm.
Black Americans. Actually, the wealth gap increased to 14%.
And spent how much, Bob? 1.4 trillion, did I hear you
$1.4
say?
trillion dollars Black Americans have spent. So it means
Spending power.
we're making
Right.
money,
Hmm.
we're spending money, but we don't know how to. We're not managing our money very well. Unemployment has gone down for blacks, and for even, especially even more so for Black women. I don't know why that is. And home ownership is down 3% since 2000. Remember, for most most Americans, but definitely most Black Americans, home ownership was their biggest investment, their biggest
Hmm.
asset. And that has
Mm.
gone down. And
Mm.
and Black people build $300 billion with less annually. Ooh, oh wow! So
They're
they
earning 300 billion less
no
annually.
they yeah not earnings, but spend what is it? Black people build 3 billion less annually. Yes, they're making $300 billion less, right?
Mm.
300 billion. So these statistics, and the wealth gap now is at $11 trillion between blacks and white. So the question is, Juan, why is it? We can talk about systemic racism, we can talk about redlining, we can talk about payday lending and stuff, putting in people in debt. Now they got the I forgot, it was like, it's like the old what is it called? Layaway. It's called something now.
Mhm.
Payday loan is pay
Right,
down
right, right, right,
later or
right.
something. Why you think what's going on with the wealth gap? Why you think this is going on? I mean, we spending, that means we got to be making money at 1.4 trillion.
Well, I think about that. I think there is and I was discussing this with someone today. I think there's a gap between people who think wealth is the same as income, what you bring it
Right.
in, and that's where you can get thrown off. And full disclosure, Mr. Kinzer, along with a former classmate of his, has a show that deals with financial literacy and training. It airs every Thursday, and I really encourage folks to check that out, because I do think people don't have that knowledge, Bob, that it's not the same, your income as building wealth. Is how to save, how to manage, and how to um, spend. And you all deal a lot with that. We're very motion. People use emotion for
But
things.
why do you
They,
think that is? But why do you think the wealth gap is getting larger, Juan?
I believe that I believe that we're doing just that. I believe that we're spending more than we're making and saving, and I believe that is extenuating. Again, wages have not really kept up with. Um, uh, no, I want to say inflation, but wages have not kept up
You're right.
with.
No, you're 100% right. No, it has not
They
kept
haven't
up with
kept up with
inflation.
cost of
That's true.
living and those
Yeah.
things. And since we're at the bottom, we're the bottom of unemployment. Uh, the if you're not keeping up, if your wages aren't keeping up with the cost of living, and it's costing you more. Uh, so we got the things we want, the electronics, the phones, and cars, uh, but then we're not able to take that money, even if it's just a little bit, and put it away, invest it. And I believe that is exacerbating itself as this country moves forward, things costing more, and it's having a detrimental effect on our overall wealth. And that's being able to pass on things to your children, to your loved ones, to your relatives, that really building that wealth, owning things. Bob, you told me, what did Bob Johnson say, for those of who don't know BET, something about that. That really
The
needs to
owner
be
of BET that sold BET, he
so,
said the problem is, he said, as far as with people, the number one issue with the wealth gap is home ownership. Like I just
Hmm.
told you, home
Hmm.
ownership decreased by 30%, and that's been mostly Black people's major asset. And he's saying that should be the first topic and most
Hmm.
concern. And he even said this, and I don't agree with him. He said, but this should be more important than voters' rights and voter suppression. He said
Hmm.
there need to be people need to be increasing their wealth, and like you said, Juan, well, income is not wealth. Wealth is assets. Wealth is net worth. Where you
Hmm.
subtract your liabilities from your asset, that's your
Right.
net worth. You
That's
know,
your
if
network.
you have a
Hmm.
certain amount of assets, you got just as many liabilities. That doesn't mean your net worth. But
Hmm. Hmm.
a lot of people, Juan, just get caught up into uh, just stuff, just it's not, it really is behavior. If your mother and father wasn't good at um, uh, creating a budget and managing their money, nine
Yes,
times
sir.
out of 10, guess what? You're not. If your mother and father bought a car every 3 years, guess what? Nine times out of 10, you might be doing that too. So, what we need to get into is people only know what they know, Juan. And I think that one of the solutions is that people just need to get more educated. And that's
Hmm.
why we and Thomas Doty do the show, Financial Information for Today and Tomorrow. It's called The Fit Show. And you can search it on YouTube and Facebook under The Fit, FITT Show. And we're trying to empower people with knowledge and information that can raise everybody's boats. And that's it's so amazing that we want to blame. I mean, I know one person was telling me, Bob, how you want to get on, about my friend's mother when she don't make that much money and she can't invest that much and she's just trying to make it. I said, yeah, but your mother spends $100 a week on numbers.
Hmm. Hmm.
She
Hmm.
complains about not having enough money to make it, and I'm like, come on,
Hmm.
I'm not trying to victimize the victim, but we got to
Right.
change the way we think and the way we manage money.
Hmm.
America's down the next to last in savings in the
Hmm.
world of um, established, developed countries, but we're next to last in savings. What does that tell you? We know how to make
Hmm.
money, we know how to spend money, but we don't know how to manage money, and we need to come. I don't know what's going to turn the tides, Juan, because this is the same thing again with the other subjects we were talking about. This is not no new subject. This is
Hmm.
they've been talking about the wealth gap and ways for years. We can't keep blaming the man and saying we're not paying them yet. We go out here and put money into things that don't appreciate. And we usually buy non-appreciating assets, and
Hmm.
that is not going to help you, especially if inflation is increasing and is lowering, the power of your dollar and is eating through your savings because you have to buy eggs and gas and things like that.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
we got to reach the people. Like I said, one of the things me and Thomas Doty is trying to do, we are trying to reach people that way. But it takes, you know, you, you, we got to talk to our mothers, our fathers, our children, our nieces and nephews, and other people, man. To this wealth gap thing, we've been talking about it for so long, and we got to change the way we think about the way we spend money. That's all I'm saying. You know.
And let me piggyback on what you're saying, Bob. Surround yourself, and you might hear this all the time. Don't surround yourself with people that uh, uh, just that are not doing well or that don't have that. I know I heard Dope say that many times. You don't want to. I find so many people, Bob.
Mhm.
I found so many people, Bob, that um, that I just use the vaccine as a thing. You don't go to you don't go to your you don't go to your dentist for financial advice, or you don't go you got a
You-
heart problem.
you-
You don't go see
to your mechanic.
right to your mechanic. Well, he may be able to tell you, like, you charge those pistons up in your heart, but right. I mean, it's simple things, and I find these people are listening to, like, um you know a cookie down the street, and they're not. And it just doesn't make sense to me. So when you're trying to get financial advice, go to somebody that understands that
Right.
piece, and that's what we're going to really have to
So Juan,
do.
there's usually three main reasons why people don't do well with their finance. They fail to plan, they have lack of information, and they have misinformation. And the third one is the biggest one because that's the one that comes through your family and friends that, Uncle Roscoe at the family cookout telling you the best get rich quick scheme, and his mug is broke. So
there you go.
let that be a lesson to you all. So Juan, we come to that.
Wow, that time rolled by, Bob.
It rolled by. We covered a lot. You all, please keep your comments out there. Juan, I don't know what's going on tonight, but we're getting a bunch of people from the United Kingdom, man. Lisa Austin. Hey, Lisa, I hope you're still watching, man. Lisa, we go back to way back to when I played an Ovaltine at Hempstead.
Really? Oh, that's bad.
Her son plays for. I hope Lisa get me right if I'm wrong. Her son is 18, 19 now, probably 20.
Wow.
The goalie for the Tottenham Spurs. Is that how it's?
Wow.
One of the elite soccer teams.
Yes, that's amazing.
And that's
because it's hard to make it over there. That's like making it to the NBA here.
Hey, Juan, look, and I missed this the last time. Herndon McMillan. Now, I was talking because I was trying to run everything when I saw Herndon McMillan come up on my other show. Juan, Herndon, if you listening, this is my daggone line brother, the first person on our line. Herndon McMillan. Yeah, my man Mac. What's up, Mac? I can't believe that was you. You being silent.
Wow.
What's up, Mac? Tell me where you are. Put your number in the thing, man. Mac, what's up? Herndon McMillan. I saw that name. I'm like, I know that name. Forgive me. Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. Okay, Juan, that brings us to the hour, man. Great show, great information. Look, you all, we're looking for comments from you all. We want y'all to put things out there. Juan, guess who else is watching?
Who's watching, bro?
Bever Dean Terrell.
All right, Bear.
Hey, Bear, how you doing?
Hey, Bear.
Thanks for checking us out, y'all. And look, please, tell your friends and family members and share this information. Because what we want to do, like we said, we can lead a person to knowledge, but you can't make them think. We're tired of all of this false information that people are putting out there, misinformation, like I talked about, the financial information. There's so many people telling you that sour milk is good and good milk is bad. And we just wanted to give you our opinion. Thus, on point opinions every Sunday. Remember that.
Bob, you know I got something to leave them with.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just saying, but so when you finish, I got something to leave them with. I think sums up where we are now.
Okay.
And, shall I go ahead, Bob, to close? And Voltaire, a French writer, said, if someone can make you believe absurdities, they can make you commit atrocities. And I think you see it there. If someone can make you believe absurdities, they can make you commit atrocities.
You deep, brother. You deep, brother. You deep. Can you get a statement again, once again, Juan?
Voltaire. Now he was a French writer.
Just give the name of the thing. We don't need to go into Voltaire.
But the importance of it is from the 1800s.
Well, give the name of the statement again, Juan.
If someone can make you believe absurdities, they can make you commit atrocities. Damn. January 6th, and go and on and on and on.
Hey, Juan.
Yes, sir.
Did you just hear that? That was Juan dropping knowledge, ladies and gentlemen. Damn. So look, thank you all for watching.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, everybody.
The first month, I know a lot of y'all forget, but we try to put things out there to remind you. The first month, the first Sunday of every month. On Point Opinions. I'm Bobby Kinzer.
I'm Juan Holcomb.
And we are On Point Opinions. Thank you for chiming in. And look, all our people overseas. Oh, Juan. What we saw that on. Guess who else is joined in? Zoe Prince. What's up, Zoe?
Zoe, tell I've been following
all the people coming out, man. Thanks for sharing. Let's share this information, y'all. Remember, we empower. Information is key, y'all. That's the thing. They want to keep us in the dark so that you don't become empowered. Man, Brother Bob.
And everybody's opinion counts. That's right.
Mac, You in Chesapeake. I love you, brother. Mac on the first line. He was first, and I was number 8. The first and the last, bringing it up. Come on, Mac. Tell him.
First and the last.
Long and short of it, Mac. What's up, baby? Love you, man. 06. Okay, Juan, that's it for me.
All right, that's it for me.
Wonderful
Love
month.
you all. And
You.
thanks for checking us out. And you can go back and look at them too. So,
and just remember one thing. Your opinion is not our reality. All right, look, have a great day.
And your opinion matters. That's like Black Lives.
It does matter.
All right.
But just remember, it's just your opinion. It doesn't mean it's fact. I'm just kidding. Have a good day, y'all.
All right, have a good one, Bob.